Hello out there. Hey, how's it going, guys, out there in YouTube land, Instagram land, and Facebook? That's right. Make sure you find us, join us, tweet us, retweet us, subscribe, share, comment on all of the social medias that we're currently on. And that, again, it's here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So make sure you follow us. I greatly appreciate it. So hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the share button, hit the likes, all that good stuff. But anyway, welcome back to this episode of The Anthony Brown Show, and I'm your boy, I'm Anthony Brown, with this series called What to Do Wednesdays. This is the series where you individuals comment or inbox me, email me, send me messages about what's going on in your crazy world. And via video here, I try and answer your questions to the best of my ability. Here's the disclaimer, just to let you know, by no means am I a licensed therapist, a life coach, a social worker, a doctor, a whatever, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. So the answers in which I'm giving you are based on what I would do if I were you in your situation. So ultimately, the final result is going to be based on what you decide to do in your situation, based on what advice that I'm giving you. And you, the viewers, I'm going to need you all to also comment below to let each person that wrote in what you would do in the same situation if you were in that situation. So I'm going to go right on into the very first email. It's from Amber. Amber, 14 years old, from Canada. It says, I'm a biracial teen being raised by my white side of the family. Even though I identify more with my urban culture and my family is cool with that, we recently visited Florida for a family reunion where I had an opportunity to meet my other black side of the family. I am confused. Both of my great-grandparents are in their 80s. The white one looks her age, whereas the black one looked like a supermodel. Their skin texture was so different. Why is this? And what's going on? What happened when I get their age? Amber, 14, Canada. Well, one thing that I've always been told, and one thing that I've learned, is the darker skinned individuals, blacks, Hispanics, people of color, the blacks and the browns, they have more melanin in their skin, which causes them to age much slower. So that's what you're seeing, is because of the Caucasian race or the Caucasian skin tone does not have as much or pigment or melanin in their skin. They are, of course, they age at a much more rapid pace. So that's what you're seeing. That's all I can say as far as what you're seeing as far as the difference in the age or the texture. But then we in the black community, we have a phrase that we often say is black don't crack. Which goes back to support what you're saying. Yeah, the black race tends to, with proper rest, proper dieting, proper exercise, proper taking care of your skin, your body, your health, and all that type of stuff, by all means, I am a firm believer that the blacks and the browns their skin tone and texture, I'm sorry, not necessarily the tone, the skin texture tends to age at a much slower pace than the Caucasian race. There you have it. Okay. Next letter, next email from Elizabeth from Georgia, age 35. It says, I have always known my 19-year-old son was gay, or is gay. I've accepted him no matter what. He knows I love him with all my heart and will do anything in the world for him. He recently asked, how would you feel having a drag queen or a transgender son? I told him, I need to I need some time to think about it. I only need time because I don't understand the difference between the two. Please help. From my understanding, the difference between a transgender and a drag queen is a drag queen is a male who dresses in women clothing for show. They do shows, they do performances, they work at the gay clubs, they show up at gay prides. So that's, to me, what I identify as a drag queen. He can also take off the clothes and become the man again. So it's just for show. It's just for performance. It's just for kicks. It's just for laughs. It's just for entertainment. It could be his job. It could be his career. Or it could be, like I said, just for laughs and just for show. But that's a drag queen. A transgender is one who identifies, not necessarily dressed in women's clothes, but identifies as another sex other than the sex in which he or she was born as. So if your son identifies as a female, because internally, mentally, spiritually, he feels that he is a woman, or that he feels that he is female, then that is a transgender. So when he asked the question, it wasn't more so, this is just my opinion, I don't think he was more so asking which you prefer. It was just to see where your head is and what you will accept. And the reason I'm saying that is because if he in fact identifies as a transgender and sees himself as a female, that means he's getting ready to go through the transition, because you say you already knew that he was gay, which doesn't necessarily mean he dresses in women's clothes. So now he's gay, you accept him, but he may identify as a female. So that's the transgender part of himself. So if he identifies as a female, he's probably asking that question to see what you will and won't tolerate, or how far he can or can't go with whom he is. So he may put limitations on himself based on your answer. So your answer needs to be more like along the line that you're going to accept him whichever route that he decides to go, because like you said, you love him no matter what, and you'll be there with him through thick and thin, and he knows that that you love him. So if he decides to come out and become transitioning from male to female, which means the hormones, the shots, probably implants, probably silicone, probably growing of the hair, shaving of the facial hair, taking hormone pills, which softens the tissue, softens the muscles, maybe even getting, castrated, getting his testicles removed, and at some point maybe even getting a sex change. That's the transition from male to female. He would go through the transition process. So that's the transgender person. So he would at that point identify, or maybe even now identify himself as a female. So that's probably why he's asking a question. So don't just answer the question vaguely, but get to the root of it and find out if he identify as a female, then of course he's going to probably transgender. If he's just doing it as for kicks or whatever and doesn't identify as female, then he may do the drag queen side of it. But find out exactly what direction his psyche or his mentality is headed, and then based on that will determine how you want to answer your question. Okay, so viewers, I hope I answered that correctly. I haven't done a lot of research with the transgender or the. I mean, I know about the drag queen side because I've had and have gay people in my family, but as far as the transgender part of it, that's something new and has come on the scene in recent years. So I hope I answered the question correctly. If I didn't, by all means, comment below. And I'm not afraid for you to let me know if I was wrong, but comment below and let the writer, Elizabeth, know further if I answered wrong, what you would do or how she should best tackle this situation. Thank you. Tim and Carol Tim and Carol, newlyweds, U.S. Army. We are both college educated, finishing up our terms in the Army. Now trying to decide what states to move to start our new lives. I am from the East Coast and she's from the West Coast. What should we do? Tim and Carol, newlyweds. They're both in U.S. Army. We are both college educated, finishing up our terms. Okay. Okay, they're married. Okay, Tim and Carol, there's a newly married couple that are in the military together as well. They're finishing up their contract or their term in the military, so they're finishing up the service. Now they're getting ready to graduate and be released and go home and live their happy lives or whatever. Their term is up. They're trying to decide where should they start their new lives. One's from the East Coast and one is from the West Coast. I personally would say I'm going to be kind of vague here and give you two answers. From a spiritual standpoint, from the Christian side, most people say a woman clings to her husband. So it would more or less be where he wants to go or what he wants to do. So if he wants to go in the Midwest, the East Coast, the West Coast, or wherever, then she, of course, is going to cling to her husband and go with her man and start a new life wherever he decides to. That's one answer. From I would say a non-Christian perspective, but from a logical and financial perspective, I would say whomever is making the most money, for example, you say you're both college educated, this is just hypothetically speaking because it doesn't say what your careers are. Let's say she is an attorney making $200,000 or $300,000 a year. And okay, she's from the West Coast, and let's say she's from the West Coast. Let's say she's an attorney making $200,000 a year, and she has a career waiting for her in California. He also college educated. Let's say he's an accountant, only making $60,000 a year. So based on the financial, it would be only logical and make sense to move closer to her career on the West Coast in California, where she's making the $300,000. He being an accountant or whatever career he has, just an example. If he's making less money, like in this example I'm giving, if he's making $60,000 as an accountant, she's making $300,000 as an attorney. By all means, he can become an accountant in California. I would say move closer to her career from a financial, logical standpoint. If that makes sense to you guys. So from the logical financial standpoint, move to where the bread earner or the one who's making the most money career is or job is based. The other can, being that they're college educated, the other partner can find a career in that new state or that new city. Okay, if that makes sense. So I hope I answered all the questions. And again, viewers, I need you to comment below and let Carol and Tim know what you would do if you were either partner or either mate in this same situation or in the same scenario. Let them know what you would do in this situation. I hope I answered them to the best of my ability. It is what it is. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to this episode or this series called What to Do Wednesdays on the show of The Anthony Brown Show. If you have any craziness going on in your life and you need it answered, by all means, drop me a line. My email is below. It's theanthonybrown@gmail.com. It will be also listed below. Make sure you, again, give me the thumbs up, give me the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribe. By all means, share this on your social media with all your friends and family so they too can come and find out what's going on over here on the craziness on The Anthony Brown Show. Until next week, you take care of yourself. grind until you shine.